What if I told you that your life could change today, not tomorrow, not next week, but in this very moment? Would you believe it, or would you think it's just another empty promise? Deep inside, you already know that change doesn't happen in the distant future. Change begins the instant you decide to take a different path. Right now, in this very breath, you have the power to shift your direction, to break old chains, to unlock a version of yourself you've only dreamed about. Most people wait. They wait for the perfect time. They wait until they feel ready. They wait until life somehow lines up with their desires. But here's the truth. Life doesn't wait. Time doesn't wait. And the longer you delay, the more your dreams fade into the background. You start convincing yourself that maybe you don't deserve it. Maybe it's too late. Maybe it's not possible for someone like you. But listen carefully. It is possible. It has always been possible. And the only thing standing between you and transformation is the belief that change has to be slow. But it doesn't. Transformation can be immediate. It doesn't require years. It doesn't require perfection. It requires one thing, a decision that you will no longer live by old limits, a decision that you will not let fear, excuses, or past failures dictate your future. Because in psychology, there's something powerful called the fresh start effect. The moment you declare a new beginning, your brain resets its expectations. You feel a rush of energy. You see yourself differently. And when you see yourself differently, you act differently. That's how change begins, in an instant of decision. Think about this. Every great story of transformation you've ever heard started with a moment of pain, a moment of realization, a moment where someone said enough. And that moment turned into a lifetime of greatness. So what makes you any different? Why not you? Why not today? Why not now? You might be listening to this thinking, I've tried before and I failed. And yes, maybe you did. But failing in the past doesn't mean you are doomed to fail again. Psychology tells us that the brain actually rewires when we try, even if we fall short. Every attempt strengthens new patterns. Every effort is a seed. And seeds don't grow overnight, but they do grow. So even your failures have been preparing you for this very moment. Let me ask you, how much longer will you let your past define your future? How much longer will you let excuses rob you of your potential? Imagine looking back a year from now. Imagine realizing you could have started today, but instead you waited. Imagine the regret. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine you made a decision right now to start. A year from now, you'll look back with pride, with gratitude, knowing that this one moment changed everything. That's the power of now. You are not stuck. You are not powerless. You are not broken. You are simply at the doorway of transformation, and all you have to do is step through it. Too many people spend their lives standing at the doorway, waiting for someone else to push them in. But this is your doorway. This is your life. And you are the only one who can decide to step through it. There's something inside you, a voice, a whisper that's been telling you there's more than what you've settled for, more than the limits you've accepted, more than the life you're living. That voice is right. Don't silence it. Don't bury it. Listen to it, because that's not just hope. That's truth. That's your future self calling you to rise. Now, here's the reward for staying until the end of this journey. By the time this video is over, you will not only know the 12 powerful principles for immediate life transformation, you will feel them. You will carry them with you like a fire. And if you dare to apply even one of them today, you will see your life begin to shift. Not in a year, not in a month, but immediately. That's my promise to you. If you stay, if you listen, if you act, your transformation begins today. So before we go deeper, make a silent decision in your mind right now. Say to yourself, I'm ready. Say it with power, even if your voice trembles. Say it because the way you speak to yourself shapes your reality. Neuroscience has proven that self-talk literally rewires your brain. So speak life into yourself. Speak transformation. Speak strength. Speak possibility. This isn't just another video. This is your moment, your reset, your new chapter. A chapter where excuses no longer control you, where fear no longer stops you, where doubt no longer defines you. And if you truly stay until the end, I promise you this, you will not be the same person who pressed play. The journey to transformation is not about waiting for the future. It's about grabbing hold of the present, because the present is the only place where change happens. Right here, right now. And today you begin. Principles are the invisible forces that guide every choice, every habit, and every result in life. While motivation gives a spark, principles create the fire that never dies. Think about it. Feelings rise and fall, moods change, but principles stand unshaken. They don't depend on energy, they don't depend on luck, and they don't depend on the weather of your emotions. When you anchor your life to strong principles, you no longer live by chance. You live with direction. Most people confuse excitement with transformation. They get inspired for a day, maybe a week, and then slip back into the same patterns. Why? Because inspiration without principles is like building a house on sand. The first storm washes it away, but when your life rests on unshakable principles, even storms turn into stepping stones. Principles don't bend when pressure comes. They hold you upright when the weight of life presses down. Psychologists say human beings are creatures of habit. We repeat what is familiar, even when it destroys us. That's why principles are powerful. They replace destructive patterns with rules that protect your progress. They become the inner compass that quietly points you in the right direction, even when your feelings scream the opposite. Imagine walking in the dark with no map. That's what life feels like without principles. But place just one guiding principle in your heart, and suddenly the darkness breaks and you see a path forward. Principles also reshape identity. People often ask, how do I change who I am? The truth is, who you are is a reflection of what you consistently practice. Live by weak standards and you'll always feel weak. Live by powerful principles and strength becomes your nature. This is not about forcing willpower. It's about rewriting the code you live by. The moment you align yourself with higher principles, you begin to see yourself differently. And when you see yourself differently, life cannot remain the same. Here's something most overlooked. The brain craves consistency. When your actions match your principles, your mind feels in harmony. That harmony creates confidence, and confidence builds momentum. But when you violate your own principles, even in small ways, you feel guilt, confusion, and self-doubt. You may not even notice it at first, but deep inside, you know you betrayed yourself. Living without principles is like trying to run with heavy chains tied to your legs. No matter how fast you move, you can't break free. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine living by principles so strong they carry you through temptation, through setbacks, through fear. You no longer waste energy debating with yourself. You don't ask, should I or shouldn't I? Your principles already decide. That's the beauty of it. Principles simplify life. They take away hesitation, and hesitation is the enemy of progress. Once you decide what you stand for, every other decision becomes easier. Think of the most respected people in history. They weren't perfect, but they lived by principles that outlived them. Integrity, discipline, courage, vision. These were not random traits. They were principles deeply rooted in their daily lives. And because they refused to betray those principles, they became unshakable. That same power is available to you right now. You don't need to be born extraordinary. You need to commit to extraordinary principles. But here's where psychology offers a deeper truth. The subconscious mind doesn't follow temporary emotion. It follows repeated truth. The more you live by a principle, the more your subconscious rewires to accept it as identity. At first, discipline feels heavy, gratitude feels forced, focus feels tiring, but repeat them long enough and they stop being tasks. They become who you are. That's why principles are the foundation of transformation. They don't just change your behavior, they rewrite your identity at the deepest level. Ask yourself, what principles have been shaping your life until now? Because whether you know it or not, you are already living by some. Maybe the principle has been comfort, maybe it has been fear, maybe it has been doubt. And those principles have created the results you see today. But here's the freedom. You can choose new ones. You can choose principles that lift you higher instead of holding you down. Your life is not defined by the rules of yesterday. It is defined by the principles you decide to live by today. Principles are like roots. They may not be visible, but they decide the strength of the tree. Without deep roots, the tallest tree falls with the first storm. But with roots, even the fiercest winds cannot break it. The same is true for you. Without principles, life tosses you around. With principles, you stand firm while others fall. This is why your transformation must not rest on fleeting emotion. It must rest on timeless truths that will not bend. Principles that are bigger than your excuses. Principles that are stronger than your moods. Principles that don't change with the season. Because when everything around you shakes, you need something inside you that does not move. That is the essence of principles. They give you a foundation no storm can wash away. So as you move forward, remember this: energy is temporary, but principles are eternal. Emotions rise and fall, but principles remain. And if you are ready to step into a new life, it begins with deciding which principles will own your heart, your mind, and your actions. Because the moment you choose them, you choose transformation. And once you live by them, your life will never return to what it was. Clarity is the starting point of every true transformation. Without it, effort is scattered, energy is wasted, and progress feels like running in circles. Most people struggle not because they lack ability, but because they lack vision. They wake up without a clear picture of where they are going, so every distraction looks important. Life becomes noise instead of direction. But when vision is sharp, decisions become simple, and energy flows with purpose. The human mind is wired to chase focus. Psychology shows that the brain filters reality through what it expects to see. It's called the reticular activating system. The moment you set a clear vision, your mind begins searching for opportunities that match it. You start noticing paths that were invisible before. This is why clarity is not just helpful, it's essential. Without it, even the strongest discipline struggles. With it, even small steps create powerful results. Think about a camera. A lens that is blurred can never capture a sharp image no matter how advanced the device is. But adjust the focus, and the same lens reveals detail and beauty. Life works the same way. No matter how much potential you carry, without clarity, you will not see the way forward. But with clarity, your vision cuts through confusion and direction becomes obvious. Ask yourself right now, what do you truly want? Not what others expect, not what you think sounds impressive, not the dream you once settled for. What do you deep inside desire for your life? That answer is the seed of clarity. And once you allow yourself to answer honestly, you give yourself permission to pursue it. Too many people never find clarity because they are afraid of admitting what they really want. They bury their true vision under fear of failure or judgment. But clarity demands honesty. Until you admit the truth to yourself, you cannot walk toward it. Vision also creates strength during struggle. When your goal is vague, obstacles crush you. But when your goal is clear, obstacles shrink in comparison. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And you start saying, this is part of the path. Clarity transforms problems into stepping stones. Because when you know where you are going, every setback becomes part of the training. Notice how children dream. They imagine without limits. They see a future where anything is possible. But as people grow, society teaches them to shrink their vision, to play safe, to lower expectations. This is why so many adults feel lost. They are living lives designed by fear instead of vision. But clarity returns when you dare to dream again, when you choose to define your future instead of letting the world define it for you. Here's another truth. Clarity doesn't come from waiting. It comes from deciding. Many people sit still hoping that life will reveal a path, but clarity is built through choices. Every decision you make teaches you more about what you value, what you love, and what you refuse to settle for. Even wrong choices bring clarity because they reveal what is not for you. The danger is not in making a wrong decision. It's in refusing to decide at all. Indecision is the enemy of clarity. When your vision is set, it creates alignment. Your energy, your habits, your priorities all line up with your destination. It's like a river flowing in one direction. Without vision, your energy spills in many directions, never gaining force. With vision, the current is strong, unstoppable, and clear. That's why the most powerful people you admire are not always the smartest or the most talented. They simply live with vision, and vision multiplies everything they do. Clarity also eliminates noise. Life is full of voices pulling you in different directions. Friends, family, society, even your own doubts can confuse you. But when vision is clear, those voices lose power. You don't need everyone's approval because you already know where you are headed. And that knowledge gives you peace. Peace not because life is easy, but because life is aligned. Imagine waking up every morning knowing exactly why you are alive, exactly what you are moving toward, exactly what matters. That feeling alone would change everything. Stress would not disappear, but it would no longer control you. Distractions would still exist, but they would no longer tempt you. Because vision makes you stronger than excuses. Clarity makes you unshakable. There's also freedom in clarity. Without it, life feels heavy, confusing, overwhelming. You try to carry everything, afraid of missing out. But clarity tells you what to let go of. It gives you permission to release what does not serve your purpose. And in that release, you find strength. Freedom is not doing everything. Freedom is knowing exactly what matters and giving yourself fully to it. So take a moment to reflect. What kind of life do you want to create? What legacy do you want to leave behind? What story do you want your days to tell? Those answers will sharpen your vision. And once your vision is clear, everything else aligns naturally. Because clarity is not just seeing, it's becoming. It's shaping your identity, your path, and your destiny. Your life will not change because you wish for it. It will change because you decide what it must become. And that decision begins with clarity. Once you claim it, once you declare it, once you see it so vividly that it feels real, nothing can stop you, because the human spirit, when guided by vision, becomes unstoppable. And that is the power of clarity, the first light of transformation, the flame that guides every step, the promise that your future is waiting to be claimed. Clarity gives you vision, but vision alone is not enough. The next step is to take ownership. Nothing changes until you accept full responsibility for your life. Responsibility is the bridge between knowing what you want and actually living it. Without it, vision remains a dream. With it, vision turns into reality. Too often people hand away their power by blaming circumstances, blaming their past, or blaming others. It feels easier to point fingers than to look within. But every time you do that, you give away control. You cannot change what you refuse to own. Responsibility is not about guilt, it's about power. The moment you accept responsibility, you take back the steering wheel of your life. Think about this. No matter where you were born, what challenges you faced, or what mistakes you made, responsibility gives you freedom to move forward. Psychology teaches us that people who believe they control their own outcomes, what scientists call an internal locus of control, are happier, more resilient, and more successful. Why? Because they stop waiting for the world to rescue them. They rescue themselves. Responsibility also destroys excuses. Excuses are comfortable, but they are cages. They keep you small while convincing you it's not your fault. Responsibility shatters those cages. It may feel heavy at first because it demands honesty. But once you carry it, you realize it's not a burden. It's the key to freedom. When you say, I'm responsible, you are no longer a victim of chance. You are the author of your story. Many people confuse responsibility with control over everything. That's not the case. You cannot control every event. You cannot control every person, but you can always control how you respond. That is where your power lies. Life is not defined by what happens to you. It is defined by how you choose to handle it. When setbacks come, will you collapse or will you rise? Responsibility is choosing to rise. Here's the truth. The strongest people you admire didn't avoid pain. They took responsibility for it. They didn't sit and wait for someone to fix their lives. They stood up and fixed what they could. That decision gave them strength, and you have that same strength. It's already within you. Every time you own your choices, your habits, your reactions, you grow stronger. Responsibility also creates confidence. When you stop blaming others, you stop giving them control over your emotions. No one can steal your peace when you decide to own it. That sense of ownership builds trust within yourself. You begin to believe, no matter what comes, I will handle it. That belief is the root of unshakable confidence. It's not about perfection. It's about knowing that your response determines the outcome. Think for a moment, how many times have you let anger, fear, or doubt control you? How many times have you said, I can't, or it's not my fault? Every time you say that, you step away from your power. But when you say, this is mine to change, you step back into it. That simple shift changes everything. Responsibility turns weakness into strength, chaos into order, and failure into growth. There is also dignity in responsibility. When you accept it, you stop living as a passenger in your own life. You become the driver. You no longer wait for permission to act. You no longer shrink from challenges. You face them knowing they are shaping you. Responsibility brings pride, not the kind that boasts, but the quiet pride of knowing you chose to stand tall when you could have bowed down. Remember this, no one else can carry your dreams for you. No one else can live your life for you. People may support you, but they cannot walk the path in your place. That's why responsibility is non-negotiable. It is the price of transformation, and the reward is freedom. When you take ownership, you no longer feel trapped. You realize that every day, every choice, every action belongs to you. Some will resist this truth. They will cling to the comfort of blaming. But deep inside, even they know that change only comes through ownership. Because when you say, I am responsible, you unlock a new power. You start making better decisions, not because someone forces you, but because you know your future depends on it. You stop repeating old patterns, not because life suddenly became easy, but because you know you are the one shaping it. Responsibility is the soil where transformation grows. Without it, nothing lasts. With it, everything changes. You may not control the wind, but you can adjust your sails. You may not control the storm, but you can control the strength you build within it. And that choice, the choice of responsibility, is what separates those who stay stuck from those who rise. So take a deep breath and decide right now, your life belongs to you. Your past does not own you. Your excuses do not define you. Every step from this moment forward is yours to take. Responsibility is not a punishment. It is your liberation. And once you claim it, nothing can stop the life you are meant to live. Taking responsibility gives you strength, but strength alone is not enough to sustain transformation. What truly builds lasting change is discipline. Discipline is the silent force that shapes destiny. It is the ability to act with consistency, even when motivation disappears. Motivation can ignite, but discipline keeps the fire alive. Without discipline, the greatest vision fades. With discipline, even the smallest step grows into a lifetime of progress. Many people wait for the perfect move before they act. They say, I'll do it when I feel ready. But feelings are unreliable. They rise, they fall, and they shift without warning. If you depend on feelings, you will always stop when the road becomes heavy. Discipline is different. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. It is the refusal to let emotions decide your future. Psychologists teach that the brain craves patterns. What you repeat, you reinforce. Discipline uses this truth as power. By repeating actions, even small ones, you train your mind to accept them as natural. Over time, they stop feeling forced. They become part of who you are. This is why discipline always outlasts bursts of motivation. It builds identity. It transforms behavior into nature. Discipline also protects you from distraction. Life will always present easier options, shortcuts, and temptations. Without discipline, those options pull you away from progress. But discipline acts like armor. It shields you from what looks easy but steals your future. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you strengthen your will. And with every choice, you carve a stronger path toward your vision. Think of anyone who achieved greatness. They were not carried by constant excitement. They were guided by habits they repeated daily. Behind every success story lies a quiet discipline. Waking up early, practicing skills, studying longer, pushing harder, staying consistent. These actions may not look glamorous, but they are the bricks of transformation. Discipline builds what desire alone cannot. There is also freedom in discipline. At first, it feels like restriction, but in reality, it removes the weight of indecision. Without discipline, you spend energy debating every choice. Should I do this now or later? Should I keep going or give up? With discipline, there is no debate. You know it must be done, and you do it. That clarity frees your mind to focus on growth instead of constant internal battles. Discipline also builds trust with yourself. When you follow through on what you said you would do, you begin to believe in your own strength. That belief grows with every small victory. Confidence is not created by empty words. It is created by consistent action. And discipline is the engine behind that consistency. The more you practice it, the more unstoppable you feel. But discipline is not about perfection. It is about persistence. You will stumble. You will miss days. You will face setbacks. Discipline is not broken by failure. It is proven by how quickly you return. The strongest discipline is not the one that never falls, but the one that rises every time it does. Each return makes you stronger. Each restart strengthens your resilience. There's also a deeper psychological truth. The mind adapts to what you demand from it. When you push through resistance, your brain rewires. Tasks that once felt impossible begin to feel natural. Pain that once seemed unbearable turns into strength. This is why discipline creates growth. It stretches your limits until new strength is born. Ask yourself, how many times have you waited for motivation that never came? How many dreams have you delayed because you were waiting to feel like it? The truth is, action creates feeling, not the other way around. Start moving and energy follows. Begin working and focus appears. Discipline is the act of beginning without waiting for permission from your emotions. It's choosing action first, knowing the feeling will catch up later. Discipline also compounds over time. One small effort may not look powerful today, but repeated daily, it becomes unstoppable. Like drops of water carving stone, discipline shapes your future silently, steadily, and permanently. Missed days of motivation are forgotten, but years of discipline are remembered forever. The results speak louder than any excuse ever could. So let this truth sink deep. Your dreams do not depend on how inspired you feel. They depend on how disciplined you are willing to be. Discipline is sacrifice, yes, but it is also freedom, growth, and transformation. The life you want will not arrive through fleeting emotion. It will arrive through steady action. Decide today to build discipline into your character. Decide to act, not because you feel ready, but because it is necessary. Decide to follow through, not once, but again and again until it becomes who you are. Discipline will demand effort, but it will reward you with a life of strength, progress, and fulfillment. And when others quit, discipline will be the reason you keep rising. Discipline shapes the path, but the way you walk that path depends on your mindset. A fixed mind closes doors, while a growth mind opens them wide. The difference between staying stuck and moving forward is not talent or luck. It is the belief that you can always learn, always improve, always rise beyond where you are today. A growth mindset is not blind optimism. It is not pretending everything is easy. It is the deep conviction that even the hardest challenges carry lessons, and those lessons make you stronger. People with fixed thinking see failure as the end. People with growth thinking see failure as feedback. They don't ask, why me? They ask, what is this teaching me? That one shift changes everything. Psychology proves this truth. The brain is not a static machine. It is flexible, adaptable, capable of rewiring through effort and repetition. This process called neuroplasticity shows that you are not trapped by old patterns. You can create new ones. Every time you practice a new skill, every time you push through discomfort, you are literally reshaping your brain. Growth mindset is not just philosophy, it is biology. Think of a seed buried in the ground. On the surface, it looks small, fragile, even insignificant, but within it lies potential. With time, water, and sunlight, it breaks through the soil and grows into something far greater than its beginning. You are the same. Every struggle, every effort, every attempt is water and sunlight to your growth. Without resistance, the seed never breaks open. Without pressure, your true strength never emerges. A growth mindset also changes how you see effort. Many people avoid effort because they see it as a sign of weakness. But in reality, effort is the evidence of strength. It proves that you are stretching beyond comfort. It proves you are refusing to stay the same. Every drop of sweat, every hour of practice, every moment of persistence is proof that you believe in your own potential. Failure, too, takes on a new meaning under this mindset. It no longer becomes a label, but a lesson. You stop fearing it and start using it. Each setback shows you where to adjust, where to improve, where to focus next. Instead of crushing you, failure becomes your greatest teacher. History is filled with stories of people who stumbled again and again, only to rise stronger because they refused to let failure define them. They lived by growth, not by fear. A growth mindset also builds resilience. When life knocks you down, a fixed mind says, I'm done. A growth mind says, this is temporary. That simple belief gives you endurance. You keep moving because you know the struggle is shaping you, not breaking you. Resilience is not about avoiding hardship. It's about facing hardship with the unshakable belief that it will lead you somewhere greater. Think about your own life. How many times did you face something you thought you couldn't handle, only to realize later that it made you stronger? That is growth. At the time, it felt impossible. But looking back, you see the lessons, the strength, the wisdom it gave you. If you could survive those moments, imagine what else you are capable of if you choose growth instead of fear. Growth mindset also transforms comparison. Instead of being crushed by someone else's success, you learn from it. You stop asking, why them and not me? And start asking, what can I learn from their journey? Comparison becomes inspiration instead of poison. Others' victories no longer intimidate you, they fuel you because growth teaches you there is no limit. Someone else's progress does not take away your own. This mindset also frees you from perfection. Perfection paralyzes. It tells you that if you can't do something flawlessly, you shouldn't do it at all. But growth whispers the opposite. Start messy, learn as you go, improve along the way. Progress is greater than perfection. The masterpiece is not created in one stroke. It is built in layers through mistakes, corrections, and persistence. At its core, growth mindset is about identity. When you decide you are someone who can always learn, always improve, always adapt, you become unstoppable. No setback is final. No challenge is too great because you don't see limits. You see steps, and each step, no matter how small, brings you closer to the person you are meant to become. So ask yourself, will you see challenges as chains or as chances? Will you see failure as proof you're not enough or proof that you are trying, learning, growing? The answer decides your future because your mind shapes your life. And when your mind grows, your life expands with it. Embrace growth in every season, in every struggle, in every victory. Let every challenge remind that you are capable of more than yesterday. Let every failure remind you that you are still moving. Let every success remind you that effort pays off. Growth is not about where you start. It's about where you're willing to go. And if you choose growth, no limit can hold you. Growth mindset opens the door to endless possibilities. But to walk through that door, you need guiding principles that keep your spirit alive and your steps steady. 4 of these are gratitude, courage, consistency, and focus. Together, they create a foundation strong enough to carry you through storms, setbacks, and seasons of doubt. Gratitude is the art of seeing what is already good in your life. It is not about ignoring pain or pretending challenges do not exist. It is about shifting your perspective. The mind is naturally drawn to problems, but gratitude retrains it to notice blessings. Psychology shows that people who practice gratitude experience greater happiness and resilience. Why? Because they no longer live in constant lack. They see abundance where others see emptiness. Gratitude does not change your circumstances instantly, but it changes how you carry them. When you begin and end your day with thankfulness, even the smallest victories shine like light in the dark. Gratitude gives you strength to keep moving forward because it reminds you that you already have more than enough to begin. Alongside gratitude stands courage. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is action despite fear. Everyone feels afraid, everyone doubts, but those who rise are the ones who step forward anyway. Courage whispers, yes, you are afraid, but do it anyway. Every time you act in courage, fear loses its grip. Every step you take into the unknown builds confidence, and soon, the very things that once terrified you become proof of your strength. The truth is, growth demands courage because transformation always leads you into unfamiliar ground. Without courage, vision remains a fantasy. With courage, vision becomes reality. Consistency is the glue that holds change together. Gratitude and courage may light the way, but without consistency, momentum fades. True change is not built in a single day of effort. It is built in small, repeated actions that compound over time. Consistency may look ordinary in the moment, but it creates extraordinary results in the long run. Think of water dripping on stone. A single drop does nothing, but steady drops carve through rock. That is the quiet power of consistency. Each repeated effort, no matter how small, shapes your future. And when consistency becomes habit, transformation becomes inevitable. Focus completes the circle. Focus is the discipline of attention, the decision to direct your energy where it matters most. Without focus, gratitude can fade, courage can scatter, and consistency can weaken. Distraction is the enemy of greatness, and the world is full of it. Every moment invites you to waste your time on things that do not build your vision. Focus is saying no to the noise and yes to your purpose. It is choosing to give your best energy to what brings you closer to your goals. The mind, like a lens, becomes powerful only when directed. Scattered attention creates scattered results. Clear focus creates unstoppable momentum. When these 4 principles work together, they create transformation at the deepest level. Gratitude keeps your heart alive. Courage moves you through fear. Consistency builds strength over time. Focus ensures your energy is never wasted. Alone, each is powerful. Together, they are unbreakable. They shape your attitude, your habits, and your destiny. Think of a person who rises from difficulty. They don't rise because life suddenly became easy. They rise because they practice gratitude, refusing to drown in negativity. They act with courage, taking steps when others stay frozen. They remain consistent, showing up day after day even when no one applauds. And they guard their focus, refusing to let distractions steal their vision. This combination creates progress that cannot be denied. Gratitude teaches you to see beauty in the journey. Courage gives you strength to keep moving when the path is steep. Consistency keeps you climbing even when progress feels slow. Focus prevents you from wandering off the mountain. Each step, guided by these principles, takes you closer to the peak of transformation. You can begin right now. Start with gratitude. List the blessings you already carry. Let that gratitude give you the courage to take one bold step forward. Then commit to consistency, repeating small actions every day without excuse. And finally, protect your focus, refusing to give energy to anything that weakens your vision. Do this and you will feel the shift. You will see yourself grow in ways you once thought impossible. Gratitude, courage, consistency, and focus are not abstract ideas. They are choices. Choices you can make every single day. Choices that build character, strength, and freedom. If you live by them, they will lift you higher than fear, higher than doubt, higher than any obstacle standing in your way. Because together, they create a life that is not only transformed, but unstoppable. Gratitude, courage, consistency, and focus give you the strength to rise above challenges, but there are deeper layers that shape lasting transformation. These layers are self-belief, environment, learning, and service. They are not surface habits, they are the roots of change. When these roots grow strong, the tree of your life stands unshaken by storms. Self-belief is the foundation of every achievement. Without it, no effort can last. You can have skill, opportunity, and support, but if you do not believe in yourself, you will stop before you even begin. Self-belief is the inner voice that says, I am capable, I am worthy, I can. It is not arrogance, it is conviction. It is the refusal to be defined by doubt or the opinions of others. Psychology shows that people who trust in their own ability are more likely to persist even in difficulty because belief fuels effort and effort fuels results. When you truly believe you can, you unlock power that no external force can give you. But belief alone is not enough. The environment you live in shapes the direction of your energy. Surroundings influence thoughts, habits, and emotions more than most people realize. If you are constantly in a space filled with negativity, you will absorb it. If you walk among people who doubt, complain, and settle, their energy will slowly pull you down. But when you place yourself in environments of growth, discipline, and vision, you rise with them. Your surroundings act like soil. A seed cannot thrive in dry, toxic ground. Neither can you. Transformation requires careful choice of the places you spend your time and the people you allow into your circle. Protect your environment and you protect your future. Learning is the tool that keeps growth alive. Knowledge is not static. Every day brings a chance to expand your mind and sharpen your skills. The moment you stop learning, you stop evolving. Life rewards those who stay curious, those who are willing to admit they don't know everything and seek wisdom instead. Learning humbles you because it reminds you there is always more. But it also empowers you because every new lesson gives you more strength to move forward. Books, mentors, experiences, even failures, each is a teacher. The question is not whether life will teach you. The question is whether you are willing to listen. Service gives meaning to everything. True transformation is not only about yourself, it is about how you use your growth to lift others. A life lived only for self becomes empty, no matter how successful it looks from the outside. Service connects you to something greater. It gives your struggles purpose, your victories weight, your journey depth. Psychology shows that acts of service increase happiness and create a sense of fulfillment far deeper than personal gain. Because service reminds you that you are part of a greater whole. And when your life becomes a source of light for others, your own path shines brighter too. Self-belief makes you unstoppable in the face of doubt. Environment ensures your energy is not wasted in toxic soil. Learning keeps you sharp, adaptable, ready for any season. Service connects your journey to a purpose larger than yourself. Each of these principles feeds the others. Belief without the right environment struggles to survive. Learning without belief has no anchor. Service without growth lacks depth. Together, they create a balance that cannot be broken. Imagine someone who carries all four. They believe in themselves, so they act boldly. They choose uplifting environments, so they are surrounded by encouragement and accountability. They never stop learning, so they stay ready for change, and they serve others, so their journey touches lives far beyond their own. That combination creates a force that inspires, motivates, and endures. Transformation is never a single event. It is the alignment of principles like these that create lasting change. You may begin with belief, or with choosing better surroundings, or with seeking new lessons. But when you add them together, they elevate you to a level you may have once thought unreachable. These four principles are not about temporary motivation. They are about building a life that keeps rising year after year. Self-belief tells you who you are. Environment shows you what you absorb. Learning reveals who you can become. Service reminds you why it matters. If you live by these, your path cannot remain the same, because every day they push you toward more strength, more wisdom, more meaning. They build a transformation that no challenge can erase. Self-belief, environment, learning, and service shape the core of transformation. But to carry that transformation through life, you must embrace resilience, patience, sacrifice, and vision. These are the deeper qualities that determine not only how far you go, but how long you last. They are the traits that keep you standing tall when the weight of the journey presses hard against you. Resilience is the strength to rise after being knocked down. It is not about never falling. It is about refusing to stay on the ground. Life will test you. It will throw disappointments, heartbreak, and setbacks into your path. Without resilience, those storms can break your spirit, but with resilience, every hit becomes a stepping stone. Psychology shows that resilient people recover faster, adapt quicker, and grow stronger from struggle. Resilience transforms pain into power. It whispers in your ear, "This is not the end. You will get back up." That inner toughness is what separates those who quit from those who conquer. Patience is the companion of resilience. While resilience gives you the will to keep moving, patience gives you the calm to wait for results. Transformation does not happen in a single moment. Seeds do not bloom overnight. Greatness requires time, yet most people quit too soon because they cannot wait. Patience is not passive. It is strength under control. It is trusting the process even when results are not visible. Psychology proves that delayed gratification is one of the strongest predictors of long-term success. Patience teaches you that every season has its time. It allows you to endure the waiting without losing hope. When you are patient, you understand that progress is being built beneath the surface, even when you cannot yet see it. Sacrifice is the price of transformation. Nothing great comes without giving something up. Comfort, laziness, distractions, and sometimes even relationships, these must be left behind if you are serious about growth. Sacrifice is not loss, it is exchange. You let go of what holds you back so you can rise into what moves you forward. Every hour spent on discipline instead of distraction is sacrifice. Every moment of hard work instead of comfort is sacrifice. Every time you say no to something small to say yes to something greater, you are making a trade that will change your future. People often want transformation without sacrifice, but the truth is simple. You cannot hold on to the old and reach for the new at the same time. Vision ties it all together. Vision is the picture of your future that pulls you forward when everything else tries to hold you back. Without vision, effort feels empty. Without vision, resilience, patience, and sacrifice lose meaning. Vision is the fire that keeps you alive inside, the clear image of who you want to become and what you want to create. Psychology tells us that the mind works toward images we hold with clarity and emotion. When you hold a strong vision, your brain seeks ways to align your actions with it. Vision is not a dream you wish for. It is a reality you commit to. It gives you direction, purpose, and the strength to keep going no matter how rough the path becomes. These four qualities are not separate. They are threads woven into one fabric. Resilience helps you endure hardship. Patience allows you to stay calm while waiting. Sacrifice clears space for growth. Vision gives meaning to it all. Together they create a mindset that cannot be broken. You may bend, but you will not snap. You may wait, but you will not quit. You may give up what is small, but you will gain what is greater, and you will never lose sight of where you are heading. Think of a mountain climber. Every step is filled with struggle. Rocks cut into their hands, storms beat against their face, and fatigue tempts them to stop. Resilience keeps them standing when they fall. Patience reminds them that the summit is not reached in a single stride. Sacrifice pushes them to carry only what is necessary. leaving behind what slows them down. And vision keeps their eyes locked on the peak above, even when clouds block the view. Without these four qualities, the climb would end halfway. With them, the summit becomes possible. Your own life is that climb. There will be times you want to give up, times you question the worth of the effort, times you feel weighed down by the cost. But if you carry resilience, patience, sacrifice, and vision, you will endure. These qualities are not natural gifts. They are choices. Choices to rise again, to wait with strength, to let go of the lesser, and to see beyond the present. Each day you practice them, you build a future that is not shaken by storms. Transformation is not just about changing your habits. It is about changing your nature. Resilience makes you unbreakable. Patience makes you unstoppable. Sacrifice makes you untouchable. Vision makes you unforgettable. These qualities, once alive in your heart, create a life that cannot be limited by failure, fear, or time. When you live by them, nothing can hold you down. Resilience, patience, sacrifice, and vision build the strength to endure the climb of transformation. But the true power comes when all principles unite into one way of living. Each on its own can guide you for a time, but when gratitude, courage, consistency, focus, self-belief, environment, learning, service, resilience, patience, sacrifice, and vision come together, they create a force that reshapes your entire existence. Integration is where change becomes permanent, where principles stop being ideas and start becoming your identity. Living these principles daily is not about perfection, it is about alignment. You will not always get every principle right, but the act of returning to them again and again molds your character. Gratitude trains your eyes to see light in dark times. Courage pushes you through hesitation. Consistency ensures that effort compounds. Focus directs your energy with clarity. Self-belief reminds you that you can. Environment surrounds you with growth. Learning sharpens your tools. Service gives meaning to your success. Resilience lifts you after a fall. Patience keeps you calm and waiting. Sacrifice clears the path of distractions. And vision keeps you moving toward the future. Integration is weaving these threads into every thought, every choice, every action. The human mind seeks patterns, and repeated actions become habits. Psychology proves that the brain builds pathways through repetition. When you consistently act according to these principles, they stop being things you try. They become who you are. You no longer have to force gratitude. You naturally see blessings. You no longer struggle to act with courage. Bravery becomes instinct. You no longer fight to stay consistent. Persistence becomes automatic. Living by principles daily is the process of reprogramming your mind until transformation is no longer temporary. It is permanent. The challenge is not knowing these principles. The challenge is practicing them when life feels heavy. It is easy to be grateful when everything is going well. It is harder when pain is fresh. It is easy to stay consistent when results come quickly. It is harder when progress is invisible. It is easy to serve when you feel full. It is harder when you feel empty. But those are the moments that define you. True integration happens in difficulty. That is when you choose to live by principles, not feelings. And every time you do, you strengthen your foundation. The reward of living this way is freedom. Freedom from the chains of fear, freedom from the weight of doubt, freedom from the distractions that steal your future. When all 12 principles unite, they create inner power no circumstance can take. You stop living as a victim of chance and start living as the author of your story. No matter what life throws at you, you know you have the tools to endure, to grow, to rise. This is transformation in its purest form. Integration also creates balance. Too much focus without gratitude leads to emptiness. Too much courage without patience leads to burnout. Too much sacrifice without vision leads to bitterness. But when each principle supports the others, they balance your life. Gratitude softens discipline. Patience strengthens persistence. Service gives meaning to resilience. Vision keeps sacrifice joyful. The harmony of these principles ensures that transformation does not consume you but sustains you. Imagine your life as a building. Gratitude is the foundation. Courage is the frame. Consistency lays the bricks. Focus installs the windows. Self-belief fills the rooms with strength. Environment provides the landscape. Learning adds the tools to expand. Service opens the doors to others. Resilience repairs the walls after storms. Patience waits for the structure to settle. Sacrifice clears away what does not belong. Vision paints the picture of the finished home. Each principle plays its part, But the true power comes when they all work together, creating a structure that stands the test of time. The path of integration requires daily intention. Wake each day and remind yourself of the principles. Ask, how can I practice gratitude today? Where can I show courage? How can I remain consistent? What must I focus on? What do I believe about myself? Who is in my environment? What can I learn? Who can I serve? How will I stay resilient? Where can I be patient? What must I sacrifice? What vision will I hold? These questions shift your life from reaction to creation. Instead of letting the day control you, you shape it with principles. Living this way will not make life easy, but it will make you unshakable. Storms will still come, but they will not destroy you. Delays will still happen, but they will not discourage you. Sacrifices will still hurt, but they will not weaken you. Why? Because you are no longer guided by chance. You are guided by principles, and principles are stronger than feelings, stronger than circumstances, stronger than fear. The final truth is this: transformation is not an event, it is a lifestyle. It is not about reaching one goal, but about becoming someone new. Someone who lives with gratitude, walks with courage, acts with consistency, guards focus, holds self-belief, chooses empowering environments, keeps learning, serves others, rises with resilience, waits with patience, embraces sacrifice, and sees through vision. This is what immediate life transformation truly means, not a single moment of change, but a decision to live by principles that create change every day. When these principles become your way of life, you do not just survive, you thrive. You do not just exist, you create. You do not just dream, you achieve. And as you live them, you prove to yourself and to the world that transformation is possible, powerful, and permanent.